I
Stratton.
know. I already know. I've been doing that behind the scenes.
There we go.
All right. Anyways, so yeah, so we got the illegal invasion of Spain. So what's happening with Spain? So there's been a lot of Muslims invading Spain. A lot of, over the weekend, a lot of illegals have been going to two cities in North Africa that's been occupied by Spain, and a bunch of Moroccans have been going into these cities, flooding the cities and stuff. And a lot of right wing Twitter accounts, a lot of right wing congressmen are all saying that it's radical Islam spreading, that it's Islam spreading across Europe, that we need to go after Islam, that Islam's the biggest threat, blah, blah, blah. It's the part of the Muslim migration. What if we told you that it's actually not true? What if we told you that Israel actually is behind it? Israel and the United States are behind this invasion, all because Spain didn't want to stop signing with Palestine, all because Spain called out Israel's genocide and didn't want to help the United States with the Iran war. That's why the United States is pissed off at Spain. That's why Trump said we cut all relations off with Spain, because he was pissed off with them. So that's the thing, right? They want to say it's an Islam takeover, but we'll look at this because Congressman Thomas Massey exposed the real truth of the situation. So Thomas Massey says, don't fall for the, hold on, do I have it up? No idea.
Gotta get it up, Triton, in more ways than one.
All right, anyways. Don't fall for the fake Fox/GOP outrage. 2 weeks ago, the House passed a bill that green-lighted the transfer of Spanish territory to Morocco. Every Republican except me voted for it, but now they're acting shocked at the invasion. So these motherfuckers voted for this invasion to happen from Morocco to Spain to occupy these territories, and then want to bitch about Muslim migration and say, oh, look at this invasion. This is how you know all these Muslims are taking over. Muslims are taking over the world. We got to stop the Muslims. But it's like, who's the one ordering these Muslims? Oh, wait. Because if you look at Israel's Twitter, they're literally congratulating Morocco for this invasion. So let's go ahead and look at this, right? Let's go ahead and look at the bill right here, right? And let's look at what's highlighted, because a lot of stuff's not important. It's all about the other stuff, Syria and stuff. But this is about the Morocco thing, right? The committee notes that the Spanish administered cities of Ceuta and Melilla are located in the Morocco territory and remain the subject of Morocco's long-standing claim. That's why all these Moroccans are all fleeing to those cities. It's not to mass migrate to a different country. It's so they can take over that country, and they were given green lit by both Israel and the United States, because the United States and Israel wanted to punish Spain for not helping them in the Iran war, and Spain basically recognizing Palestine and being with the Palestinians and basically expelling Israeli settlers out of their country. So that's what's really going on with the situation. It's not about Muslim mass migration, and these are all people that voted for it, basically.
In the last statement,
250. Hold on, let me finish real quick. 215 Republicans, all of them voted yes, right, for this to happen. Who's the only one that voted no?
You just said.
I know, but I just want people to know, because who's the one that voted no? Thomas Massey. And who's Thomas Massey? Oh, wait, he's the Republican that the Israeli lobby spent $32 million for him to get out of the race. And he's the only one that's voting no against it. Now you guys know why he's voted out? Because he's literally the only one that's going to vote no against this shit, and is really consistent with this kind of stuff. So that's the thing too, which there's other stuff I want to pull up with this too. Basically, Israel bragging about it. But a lot of people want to say that this is a Muslim takeover, that these are all Muslim, that Spain's, it's the Spain left-wing government allowing these Moroccans into territory. It's like, no, not at all, because Morocco and Spain have been fighting for that territory for thousands and thousands of years. And the only reason the Moroccans are all fleeing into these territories is because Israel and the United States told them to and gave them a green lit. Was like, hey, listen, since you guys joined the Abraham Accords, since you guys, are loyal to Israel and Spain's pissing us off, we will give you these two cities you guys been wanting. We'll give you these two territories and we'll transfer these two territories to you. And that's why all these Moroccans have been fleeing into those two cities for the last 2 weeks, for the last, weekend. It's because the United States and Israel are trying to punish Spain for going against them.
Well, good luck with that. Historically, the United States' first ally in its existence, people think it's France or Spain, but no, you couldn't be more wrong. The first nation to recognize the United States as an independent nation was Morocco, all the way back in 1786. Hell, the bloody Revolutionary War didn't officially end until 1787, folks. So when you look at this, you have to look at it from a historic standpoint. Morocco is one of the few nations in North Africa that wrestled its independence from Spain and France, to the chagrin of the United States, who couldn't do much to stop Spain and France back then because, the world was a lot bigger 250 years ago, right? You didn't have a plane that could go across the Atlantic in a few hours back then. So the animosity between the Moroccans and the Spanish have been around for a long time. So it would make sense for the United States to be antagonistic to the Spanish. With the Israelis involved, that just puts the cherry on top of the cake. We know from history that the United States and the Spanish haven't historically gotten along, so much so that
not at all.
Yeah, they've had the Spanish-American War is the biggest example, but Spain currently has a left-wing government that isn't popular at home. It's not popular in the West, and it's not popular with the American-Israeli alliance. So let's just say it's not very popular. Essentially, Spanish socialism is the model for what Mandani is doing in New York City. So now you understand why, the neocons on the right are saying, oh, well, Spain is bad, and the Islamic invasion is also bad, but they're all bad. Right? We're trying to bring peace to the situation. And in Morocco's case, Morocco only has two really strong demands. Those Spanish enclaves, which were never theirs, as well as international recognition for their illegal occupation of Western Sahara. For decades now, there's been a practical civil war in Western Sahara between the Moroccan occupiers and the native population, who are not Moroccan. But now the United States recently recognized Morocco's illegal occupation, and with American backing, well, the occupation of Western Sahara is now indefinite.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these things do add up. Fair play to the Moroccans, though. They know how to play the geopolitical game. They know that if they work with the Americans, they work with the Israelis, and they can get the recognition they want, they could maybe get the enclaves they want, and strengthen their position in North Africa to the detriment of the Spanish and the detriment of the French. Portugal doesn't really factor into this because as long as Britain and Portugal's alliance remains, their influence will not weaken, which is why Britain has been pro-Israeli, because of the fact that if we followed the Spanish and were anti-Israeli, well, then the Americans through the Argentinians would pressure us with the Falklands. Same with France. If France went anti-Israel, the Americans would pressure the French because the French literally have a chunk of South America, French Guiana. So they could sponsor an uprising there. So there's a reason these things are done. Because if our countries put our heads above the parapet and condemn Israel, we're going to suffer the consequences of that. And let's face facts, folks. Spain, France, the UK, we don't have what it takes to stand up to the United States. We haven't for a very long time.
And you guys probably never will, because that's the thing. Because it's like, you guys used to be, the world's superpowers, but then when the United States came, it's just like, in fact, the United States had to bail out the UK out of World War II because you guys were so in debt. We basically were the ones that saved your ass from going bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And don't you guys still owe us debt to this day from that too?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it would not surprise me. As we all know, the Soviets in the Cold War were like, "Nah, fuck you, America.
So
we ain't paying you shit."
this is the committee report, basically, confirming Congress's favoritism, and then basically passing the bill for Morocco to basically take the territories and all those immigrants to take over those territories.
Mm-hmm. Well, good luck with that. Look, I know Spain is under a socialist administration now, folks, but a situation like this would be a gift to the Spanish right. And Spain, along with Portugal, a lot of people forget this. Spain and Portugal were the last countries in Europe to be fascist dictatorships. In Spain's case, it ended in 1976 with the death of Franco. In Portugal's case, it ended with the end of Salazar in 1970 and the end of his regime in 1974. So, of all the two countries in Europe that could be the most right-wing, and I mean really right-wing, I'm not talking about neocon bollocks here, it would be Spain and Portugal. So the Moroccans, they're taking a risk here, but the reward is we have the backing of the US, we have the backing of Israel. We think we can do this.
And that's the only reason they're even striking now, is because they have the backing of the United States and Israel. It's because they also know that if they were to do it as well, they're doing it for their own goals, but they're also going to get rewarded by the United States and Israel on top of that, because they basically have the same goals.
But I would like to just point out there for the record in the Moroccans' case, because I like studying countries that no one would ordinarily give a damn about, countries like Morocco, Indonesia, Chile, those sorts of countries. The Moroccans are purely doing this for their own ends. They don't give a damn about the US. They certainly don't give a damn about Israel. They're just playing the cynical geopolitical game to advance themselves. And once they get strong enough, then they'll cut ties and go their own way. So this is only an alliance of convenience. Once the Spanish are dealt with, and maybe the French, because the Moroccans have a animosity to the French because the French occupied Morocco along with the Spanish. Once France and Spain are done and Morocco is strong enough, they'll cut ties. It's as simple
No,
as
and
that.
after reading this, it basically says that American tax dollars is going to be spent on this. So yeah, we're spending our money just so a foreign country can invade another foreign country. It's like, wow. That's how you know it's like, this stuff's fucked. But that's the thing too. It's like a lot of these people like Elon Musk, and I'm going to call out people like these people like Elon Musk and shit, because Elon Musk is replying to it saying, "Oh, these people are scum. These people are stupid. These people should be doing this." But it's like, who is doing it, Elon? You fucking retard. You fucking South African migrant piece of shit. Who's the one doing it? Who's the one doing this invasion? Who is the one what? Hold on. Let me fucking show these tweets, because he's fucking he pisses me off.
Well, the strange thing about this situation is that it's not only Morocco that lays claim to these territories. The Algerians also lay claim to these territories.
Here's Elon replying to this. So after all these waves of immigration in Spain, I'm going to explain to you why part of the left needs to continuously regular arrivals and basically, calling out the immigration. Elon's saying exactly. There's also other stuff. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. This is kind of last minute research, but he fucking
it's all right. While you're looking for it, look, it's one thing to pressure a country to give up its territory. It's another thing when they're going to accept it.
For we in
Oh, hello. this government in Spain is already unpopular. What better way to buy a cheap bit of popularity, guys, than to hold fast and, well, push back the invaders or at least cement the claim to the territory? Now, it may not get to that. They may just let the situation run amok and still hold on to sovereignty. Because at the end of the day, without active support from the US and the Israelis, Spain will defeat Morocco. It's a foregone conclusion, right? A European country, no matter how weak, will buttfuck any of the North African countries, however strong.
Man, what a fucking pussy. This guy deleted his fucking tweet. You fucking pussy. He was literally, Elon Musk was literally glazing, saying, oh, these Muslims are taking over. You shouldn't allow these people to take over. There needs to be more pressure on these kind of people. These people are scum, making AI videos saying that, these Moroccans are scum, these Muslims are scum, and not pointing out the real truth about, what the invasion is. It's like he deleted those tweets. I need to screenshot that shit next time because I saw that shit yesterday. Also, hey Carla, what's up? Never forget that Elon Musk is a failed P word who tried and failed to get onto Epstein Island. That is true. He did try to get to Epstein Island, and they fucking said he was cringy and weird. So it's like that's the thing. People like Elon Musk, all the MAGA influencers, all these people crying about Muslim migration. It's like, can y'all tell the real truth? Can y'all expose the real truth like Thomas Massey's doing? The real truth is we basically told Morocco to fucking do it because guess what? We want to go at Spain. That's why we backed this invasion. This is a backed U.S. and Israel migration. That's why I say a lot of these Muslim mass migrations are literally United States and Israel backed. All these Muslims, all these grooming gangs, all these people going into Europe, causing all these problems. Who's sending them there? Oh, yeah, Israel. Because Israel goes and bombs these homes in Gaza, Syria, and all these countries. And Israel doesn't want these people in their country. So you know what they do? They're like, hey, go to Europe. Be Europe's problem. You're no longer our problem anymore. And that's the truth. And I see all these Europeans getting mad at Muslims, but it's like, can y'all get mad at Israel? Can y'all get mad at the United States? Can y'all get mad at the people actually causing the problem? Can y'all even say what the root of the problem is? Y'all can't just say Muslim bad, Muslim bad. It's like, yeah, Muslim bad, but why is Muslim bad? Oh, it's because of these other people, And that's what pisses me off about this whole thing is also, what's up, Mr. Jew, is people want to basically shift the goalposts. They want to shift the goalposts and make it all about Islam and all about how Muslims are bad and shit. But it's like, it's literally the Israeli and the United States government sending these people to cause all this destruction because they want all these European governments to fall as well. Because once these Muslims take over these European governments, you really think that Israel and the United States are going to let these Muslims have the power of the European governments for long? No, they're just going to, after they're done, they're going to take over those governments and take it away from the Muslims, just like the Middle East, and boom. That's how they plan on taking over the entire world. But go ahead, Digny.
Well, I was just going to make a point. If any European nation is vital to fall first, it has to be Spain, especially with their control of the Ceuta enclave in northern Africa. Because of the territorial waters it gives Spain control over. Spain can cut off the Strait of Gibraltar. They could cut off the Mediterranean legally within their own waters if they wanted to. And that's a big problem for Israel. Because Israel needs the Strait of Gibraltar open, just like they need the Strait of Hormuz open and the Suez Canal open. Because the waterways will ensure endless supplies from the United States. So if Morocco took control of the Ceuta enclave, then it would be within Moroccan waters, and the Israelis can just go right on through with their trade and their supplies. And the only way to cut it off then would be for the Spanish to, get physical. And Spain isn't going to get physical against the United States, Morocco, and Israel. So it's very important. This situation is very important because the Israelis are taking a battering. and they need to secure their supply routes. They can't get any supplies from the Strait of Hormuz. They might not be able to get any supplies because of the Houthi rebels in Yemen cutting off that straight down in the Red Sea. If the Egyptians don't get their bribe money from America, the Suez Canal will be cut off. And as long as Spain has a government that's hostile to Israel, the potential for the Strait of Gibraltar to be cut off is wide open. Cut off the entire Mediterranean to Israeli supplies. And then they can only rely on an increasingly hostile Europe. Because it's not just Spain's government that's becoming increasingly hostile to Israel. Other EU countries are getting a bit more hostile because, they see what Triton sees, right? They see the patterns, and it's like, if we don't do something about it, well, then we're going to get fucked over, aren't we? Doesn't matter if they're left wing, right wing, any wing. The birds like this fucking massive nose bugger is going to peck us to death.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Denmark's been hostile. Like a lot of these countries, EU countries, are starting to get hostile because they're seeing what's going on, and some of it are dealing with the impacts of these mass immigrants coming in and all that. And it's like they don't want their countries to be, taken over by all these, problems that Israel's causing in the globe. And that's why all these countries are getting hostile, whether it's right wing, left wing, doesn't matter what wing it is. These countries are getting hostile to Israel because Israel's created so many problems in the world to where all these countries have to get hostile. They have to say something, or they'll end up like the UK, France, and a lot of these EU countries are just cucked. They can't do anything about the mass immigrations. UK can't even do anything about the grooming gangs because if they do, then the immigrants are going to get mad at them. So that's why it's like, that's the thing. Do you really does a country like Denmark, Spain want to end up being like the UK, where the mass immigration problem is getting so bad to the point where you're having grooming gangs going along? Like that's why a lot of these countries are getting hostile, even the left wing countries that support open borders, because they even know that this stuff's not right, and you can't sit there and go in the Middle East and misplace all these different people and making it the rest of the world's problems, because that's what they're doing when they're going into Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and all these other countries and misplacing all these people. Where do you think these people are going? Oh wait, they're all coming to our countries. And that's why we're having this quote-unquote Islam problem. It's because they're making us have the problem. They're basically putting their problems into our problems.
But yes, because that ensures their survival. Make their problems our problems, and we'll guarantee the existence of their state. However, that guarantee isn't guaranteed anymore. As long as Iran continues to exist in one way, shape, or form, it will always stand against Israel, right? As long as Spain maintain the territorial waters necessary to cut off the Strait of Gibraltar, and as long as Spain has a hostile government, they will always be a problem. Spain's situation is not hopeless. If they have the support of the Europeans and the Algerians, because the Algerian government doesn't like what Morocco's doing, and the Algerians like the Pakistanis, right? They're sort of, we try to be friends with everyone involved so that we can just stay out of it. But in terms of the most powerful nation in North Africa, it is Algeria. It's got a strong military. Not strong enough to take on any European country, but certainly strong enough to fucking do over Morocco. And they're right next door. So it's not as hopeless.
But if Algeria were to do something about Morocco and get involved and declare war on Morocco, the United States and Israel would send high technology weapons to Morocco and try. And it doesn't mean Morocco's going to win necessarily because it's just technology, because they don't know how to use it. But however, Israel and the United States are going to try the best to make sure that Morocco doesn't lose the war, because they need Morocco. Because Morocco is a really good proxy in Africa. And not only that, but they're also part of the Abraham Accords as well. And Morocco and all these other countries are also trying to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords as well. And that's why it's really important to have Morocco there, because Morocco is one of the only four or 5 countries that are in the Abraham Accords. And not only that, but they're also a strong proxy for the United States and Israel in Africa.
Oh, absolutely. But one thing we all have to consider, and the Iran war has completely changed the game, folks, because if Iran can hold out against the American-Israeli alliance, quite a lot of planets on Earth can. Algeria is one of them. I dare to go so far as to say Spain is another, but you understand the European sensibility is quite different from, say, the North African or the Middle Easterner. They may have the ability, but do they have, the strength of will? I don't think they do. But the Iran war has proven that the Western powers are not invincible. Yes, Iran is taking a battering. No one can deny that, but they're still here. And as long as they're still here, they prove how ineffective America and by extension Israel is in compromising sovereignty. And once other nations around the world realize that, hey, Iran can hold their own against these guys, well, we're better than the Iranians, so can we. And then the whole house of cards starts falling to bits. That's why the Israelis are getting increasingly desperate, because they know what I know. They know far more about the situation than I do. And that's why controlling strategic points like the Strait of Hormuz, like the Suez Canal, like the Strait of Gibraltar is so vital.
Mm-hmm. And so important too.
Mm.
So let's see. So I'm going to get final perspectives on that, starting with Dignity. Yeah. So what's your final perspective on Morocco invading Spain for the United States and Israel, basically?
Well, I think it's terrible. I don't think Spain will hand over the territory or territories, because that would be too much of a humiliation for the government to handle. And you're going to see a deadlock in play, because the territory can be full of fucking Moroccans. It doesn't matter, right? It's still Spanish territory at the end of the day. And as long as the Spanish still lay claim to the waterway, that's all Israel is interested in, the fucking waterway around Ceuta. Because the Spanish control the waterways that can cut off the Strait of Gibraltar. So that's Israel's plan, to deal with the Spanish by forcing them to give up that particular enclave. Spanish won't do that. That will create a deadlock, and that will cause further animosity, right?
By the way, this is going to be a thumbnail for the segment too.
Yeah, and that motherfucker should be lucky he hasn't been blown up by an Iranian missile or a Spanish missile before long, because let's face facts here, folks. This isn't going to go the way the Trump-Netanyahu cabal thinks it's going to go. Because the Spanish will double down, and they'll justify their negative position by saying it's Israel's fault. And they'll have the backing of other nations quietly. And it'll be a very similar deadlock to what we're seeing in other strategic points. So good luck to the Moroccans. They're going to need it. I don't see the Spanish government bending over this.
Personally. I don't see them bending over either, because it's like, they definitely know that we have a part in it, especially now that Thomas Massie basically linked the bill that proved that that the Congress and Senate approved of it. It's like the Spanish government definitely knows that it's us doing it, and I don't think they're going to bend the knee. And if they do bend the knee, then it's just a big humiliation for the Spanish government, because it's like, why would you bend the knee to people literally instigating stuff in your back door and basically taking your territory, saying without your permission, saying, hey, this is Morocco's territory now. You have to give it to Morocco or else. It's like, you really think the Spanish government's they didn't bend the knee to join the Iran war. Why would they bend the knee for a territory that's way, way worse? Like, that's more of a stake than them helping with the Iran war, it felt like. You know what I mean? I feel like they've taken way more risks. Like, they've literally put themselves at risk of being attacked by opening their embassy back in Iran, basically showing that they stand with Iran by opening up the embassy back in Iran. So it's like, I don't see, if they're going to do all of that, just to bend the knee and give them territory, then it's just like that's just the biggest humiliation ritual, and the left wing socialist government will have zero credibility.
Yep.
And you'll definitely see a new radical right wing government take over, and because
Well,
a
you
lot
can
of
see. I don't think politics will have anything to do with it under those circumstances. I
oh
think
no,
you'll have a radical government take over
it
Spain.
won't even right. It won't even be right wing. It'll just be radical of people that hate. Like people want to say anti-Semitism in America is bad. I mean, anti-Semitism in Spain's going to be way worse, especially if the Spanish government bends the knee like that. Oh man, they don't play around over there. They will fucking. They will make it. They will probably fucking be like the Nazis and fucking start like a whole fucking Holocaust over there, knowing them motherfuckers. Especially if they bring back the same energy as the old Spanish Empire. Oh man, they're gonna be so radical. It's like, bro, like you're just gonna like that's what Israel and the United States don't understand. It's like you doing these shady tactics is just radicalizing people more and making more and more people hateful because you're doing shitty things. And when you do shitty things, it makes people justified to being evil and shitty. So now I want to get final perspectives from the other panelists. Dignity, do you have anything else to say?
No, that's all I wanted to say.
What about you? What about you, Jim? What's your final perspective on Morocco invading Spain illegally and taking their territory, and the United States and Israel being behind it?
I hope Spain kills them.
There we go.
Very direct.
Very direct, very hands off, very just masked off, like very straight to the point. Kill them all. Get rid of them. Defend your land. All right. What about you, Mr. Drew?
What?
Oh, you haven't been paying attention. I saw you pop in, but welcome to the stream, by the way. I know you did pop in, so you probably don't know, but I was asking for your final thoughts on Morocco invading Spain and taking their territory.
Well, to be exactly honest, from judging from what I've heard so far from various news channels that I watch that I like, I'm gonna be honest, and you guys can disagree with me, and you guys can disagree if you like, but I'm gonna be honest. I think Morocco invading Spain, terrible idea.
Yeah, we agree on that.
What was that? Sorry, your thing cut out.
Oh, sorry about that. I said I agree with that because that's the thing. It's they're just going in. It's like saying you have like two. Let's say you have two vacation homes in Miami, right? And then you just have a bunch of squatters squatting in those vacation homes. Are you going to let those squatters squat in those vacation homes?
No, hell no, of course not.
Exactly. What about you, Torin, if you're back?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's your final perspective on Morocco's invading Spain?
Likewise me, Morocco more.
The fuck?
He's doing a Morocco impression. Because they're all right. Anyways, before we have NBA.
Cheesy Weezy loves his dappy wappy.
We are never beating the racist allegations.
Who said anything about being
funny.
racist? Who said anything about being racist? I'm referencing the character from a old cartoon.
Oh, I thought you were making fun of the voice because they're Moroccans.
Wacky, wacky, wacky. Oh, it is time to do the splits.
All right, so